working on these games is really hard. They're really complicated. And I think it was just like, hey, let's let the Wolverine team cook. Let's let them cook, and let's just make sure that they have a clear runway to make the best Wolverine game possible. And it's going to be awesome.
You don't say.
Well, whatever Insomniac's cooking, I think it's safe to say that it's going to end up being pretty damn good. But regardless, welcome back, true believers and all you merry Marvelites, to another very interesting Marvel's Wolverine related video. And even though we are still currently living within the era of Marvel's Spider-Man 2's recent release, it is still pretty important to keep in mind that Insomniac is currently working on a massive AAA PlayStation 5 exclusive and more than likely M-rated Wolverine game. And based on some recent reports, it finally sounds like that we might know exactly when this game could be releasing. So if you're someone who's hyped beyond belief for Marvel's Wolverine and all the other exciting Marvel games that will be releasing in the future, then definitely be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for any major Marvel games videos down the line. So to jump straight into it is that this news was actually uncovered or potentially leaked by a professional concept artist's official ArtStation page, where, to clarify, is that this fellow individual, who I thoroughly apologize in advance for mispronouncing his name of Hung Wee, is actually a concept artist who has worked on various games, where the most notable of which that stand out on his profile relates to LEGO Star Wars, The Quarry, and Demon's Souls. So this already thoroughly indicates just how much of an extensive background this particular person has when working on video games, and also shows that they are not any type of fake news source whatsoever. Now, the main reason as to why I wanted to justify Hung's background as a professional concept artist is because he might have just accidentally revealed the official release year for Marvel's Wolverine. Because as we see here at the very top of Hung's ArtStation page, is that the next big 3 major projects that Hung is working on directly relates to an unannounced game by Ben Studios, the TMNT Last Ronin game, and at the very tippy top is none other than Marvel's Wolverine, which is apparently set to release next year in 2024. And if this actually ends up being true, then the fact that Insomniac Games is able to release so many high quality games in such a short amount of time just goes to show that they are one of, if not one of the best studios currently working in the gaming industry today. Now, you might be asking yourself, is how in the world would Insomniac be able to release Marvel's Wolverine next year in 2024, given the fact that their current major release of Marvel's Spider-Man 2 only released this year in October? Well, to remind all of you is that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Marvel's Wolverine, even though they are both developed by Insomniac Games directly, they are in fact developed by 2 completely separate teams within Insomniac Games. The creative director of Marvel's Spider-Man 1 and Marvel's Spider-Man 2 was none other than our main man himself of Brian Intihar, whereas for the case of Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, that game's primary creative director was Brian Horton, who, as it turns out, is also the creative director for Marvel's Wolverine. And the entire team responsible for Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales is also currently working on Marvel's Wolverine as well. So even though Marvel's Spider-Man 2 just released this year, I do think that the main team at Insomniac currently working on Marvel's Wolverine has indeed made quite a lot of progress within the game's development ever since it was initially revealed all the way back in 2021. So if Insomniac does want to end up releasing back-to-back Marvel game bangers within 2023 and 2024, then I could definitely see it being a plausible outcome given Insomniac's incredible work ethic. However, the only wrench that I could possibly see being thrown into this equation actually relates back to Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and the possibility as to whether or not the game might end up receiving any potential DLC within 2024, which may or may not end up pushing Marvel's Wolverine back into releasing sometime later in 2025. Now, as it currently stands right now is that we don't know 100% for sure as to whether or not Marvel's Spider-Man 2 might end up receiving any type of story DLC, where I already did a video fully breaking down the DLC situation for Marvel's Spider-Man 2, so definitely make sure to check that video out if you haven't already. But in my eyes, I do think that if we actually end up receiving DLC for Marvel's Spider-Man 2, it will more than likely end up coming in a massive DLC expansion rather than what we previously saw with the individual story chapters in The City That Never Sleeps, where if I had to guess is that if this DLC DLC ends up happening, I do think that it could end up releasing a year after Marvel's Spider-Man 2's release, sometime in the fall of 2024. And if that means that Insomniac would end up having even more time to work on Marvel's Wolverine, then I for one would be all for it. But until that time comes, it looks like we're just gonna have to wait and see as to what exactly Insomniac has in store for us. And with all that said, everybody, that's the video I have for all you today, and please let me know all your thoughts in the comments section down below. What do you think about Marvel's Wolverine potentially releasing sometime next year in 2024? Or on the flip side, do you think that 2024 is where we could end up receiving Marvel's Spider-Man 2 DLC instead? Let me know what you think. Be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy, and for more Marvel's Wolverine videos like this in the future. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay merry, Marvelites, and until next time, peace out.